warm welcome back. You're watching Today here on eNCA, channel 403 on DSTV. If you've just joined us, it's 29 before 5. It's the second hour of the show. Now, judgment on the constitutionality of the Electoral Amendment Act is reserved. The Constitutional Court has heard applications by the Independent Candidates Association of South Africa and One South Africa Movement for the past 2 days. The organizations are worried that millions of voters like yourself may effectively be lost if the act is implemented in its current form. Tselane joins us now. He's the founder of the Institute of Election Management Services here in Africa. Let's unpack this further. For the person who's watching us right now, Terry, and is wondering how this will affect their actual vote on the ballot on election day, what do you tell them?
Well, it depends whether you are an independent candidate or you are a member of a political party. Now, remember that the Electoral Act had to be changed or had to be amended in order to enable individuals who want to participate as individuals and not through membership of a political party in the electoral processes. So it is important to that extent, and to the extent that it affects those individuals who do not want to participate in elections through membership of a political party. So what it basically means for them as independent candidates is that the requirements to participate in the elections is such that they would require at least 15% of what it would have required for a person to get a seat in the previous elections. If, for instance, during the last elections, it required a political party to get 90,000 votes, it would, in this case, mean 15% of that 90,000. And then that would then determine the percentage that one would require in terms of the signatures, not just signatures, but signatures of registered voters. So a person who comes in must actually have been, rather, a person who comes in as an independent candidate must get those signatures before they become candidates in these elections.
Terry, thank you for unpacking those numbers. I mean, 53% is quite steep for an independent candidate or a new political party that would enter the fray to try and lay claim to that seat in Parliament. When we talk about those numbers, just in the broader picture, in reality, are they attainable with this current bill in its current form?
It's going to be extremely difficult for independent candidates. And the reason why it is going to be extremely difficult is because, firstly, for political parties prior to 2021, they required only 500 signatures of registered voters in order for them to participate in the elections. After 2021, the IC changed the formula slightly and increased it to 1,000. So any new political party that wanted to participate would require at least 1,000 signatures. Now, for an individual who is participating for the first time, it would mean that that individual would have to get at least 14,000 or so signatures, depending on the numbers of the signatures would be required according to the formula that I just outlined. So it is going to be extremely difficult because when you are participating for the first time as an independent candidate, firstly, you don't have the resources, but secondly, you expect or you are expected now to move around and find registered voters. We should be about 14,000, and it is extremely going to be difficult for those individuals.
Before I let you go, Terry, do you care to just highlight some of the clauses that you found problematic with the bill? And to that end, how would changing those clauses level the playing field, as it were?
There are two aspects that really determine entry into the electoral processes, particularly for independents. The first aspect, well, let's put it this way, that not only for independents, but any political party, you require firstly to have signatures, and secondly, you require a deposit. Now, a deposit that an individual would require to participate in these elections would be about 20,000 or so. And in addition to that, that individual has got to get at least 14,000 or so signatures. And then that on its own, it's actually going to be extremely difficult for people who are just coming in to participate in the electoral processes.
Terry Tselane, thank you so much for your time and unpacking those numbers and the problematic clause within that bill. That was Terry Tselane, founder of the Institute of Election Management Services in Africa. Let's move on to